Today's miniature is out of this underworld. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good day. So Hades, from Massive Darkness to a Boss, is primed with Macragge Blue, or Macragge Blue, or Macragge something blue from Citadel Colour. Never tried this primer, and by the way, I loved it. And I'll get back to that in a second. We're starting with some skink blue dry brush on the bottom base there where the water's going to be, and then some dry brush of Emmerich blue all over his cape. Hey, if you're liking these videos, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell to find out when new videos are posted. So coming back to this primer, this Macragge or Macragge Blue, someone gave me this primer. And I've never tried a Citadel Colour primer except for the ones I use for contrast paint, but this one just saved me so much work to do because his big cloak was a very dark blue, and this highlight with the dry brush is exactly what I wanted his cloak to look like. Now again, should I have done the dry brush before or after the shade? You guys let me know in the comments. Dracolic Scales now from Army Painter. This is a D&D unique paint. You can only get this, I believe, I'm not sure if it's the Underdark or the Undead. I think it's the Underdark paint set. I always forget which one it is. But those are the two that have the most unique paints in them from the Army Painter, and they're just smaller bottles. You can't get this in the other color schemes like in their war paints or anything like that. So if you're looking for this, you can use any kind of like lighter blue, and this is going to be for the inside part of his robes, so not the big cloak, just his robes here. And you can tell like you're going around these belts, you're going around these figures that are around him, so just be careful. But I mean, the worst case is you'll hit him a bit, all these other parts, but you're going to paint over them anyway, so it's not a big deal. And that's why you want to start always with your background painting before doing the foreground painting, so if you hit anything you can clean it all up. So I'm going to be showing you again what I do with the base, and I'm using some water gel, transparent water gel that is, from AK Interactive's Diorama series, and we're doing this on the entirety of the base. Well, actually not the entirety, just what looks like water waves. I assumed it was water. I mean, you can do what you want with it, but I found it was kind of cool. It's like the souls that are floating around. And so this water gel looks like a regular white glue, which I might actually be, but a little bit thicker. And then when it dries, as you can see here, you can still see the background of it underneath, like some of the pale colors, some of the darker area. Really cool, but I'll also make it pop later on more. Now we're using some Drakenhof Nightshade. So this is a shade by Citadel Colors, and it's going to be going on over the cloak as well as his robes. Now this is what I was saying, should I have done this right off the bat, did the whole miniature with this, except for of course the robes, or painted that part with the Dracolic Scales, and then make it really pop with the dry brush, or leave it like this and have it like a more subtle highlight? Again, let me know in the comments below what you think I should do, or is there a better technique? I like learning stuff, and if you guys just like what I'm doing. But as you can see here, the Dracolic Scales get really darkened by this, but it still keeps like a bluish light blue highlight, so it still keeps it like that. At least, you know, it doesn't look like it's the same color. Now we're going to be doing the entirety of those souls that are around this guy with some Ghoul Gray. This again is another D&D unique paint from the Army Painter. And it's going to be for all of these little souls and that are climbing or just sitting around him. I don't know if they're trying to escape or if they're just there like for his powers or something. I don't know. Anyways, it's pretty cool. I really enjoyed this miniature, and at this moment here I just dropped my light in my paint. Actually, I accidentally hit it and it fell in my paint, but that's okay. It didn't, you know, you guys get to see how I make mistakes once in a while, even not intentionally. So this is gonna be a long part. I'm gonna skip through quite a bit. These guys are all over the base. Yeah. We're gonna be using some oak brown for his beard. That's it, plain and simple. Nothing more, nothing less. Yes, I should have put some highlights on his beard though, just to give it a light effect. Banshee brown is our next color from Army Painter. This is going on his hands and on those ribbons that he has, that has those medallions as well. So this is like, yeah, at first I was like, oh, just do the gauntlets here on his arms or whatever, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta do his hands too. Alright, now we're just finishing off the hand that's holding up his staff, and we're going to be moving on to those straps or belts or whatever you want to call them here. And at first I was just going to do the strapping part and not the medallions, but then I'm like, well, you know what, the medallions will be a good base for the future color I'm going to be using on it, so you'll want to paint those too. Plus sometimes metallics over a darker paint is a little bit harder to paint, so having this lighter brown is a good idea. Now what's funny is that the next color I'm going to be using is almost similar to this. I didn't realize that, but Skeleton Bone, I was doing this for his horn. It's like identical to Banshee Brown. Like, it's so close. So I don't know why they're saying that that Banshee Brown is unique. I would have considered it Skeleton Bone almost. I don't think I've ever used the two so closely together. Anyways, Apothecary White now. We're going to be doing this. This is a Citadel Colour contrast paint, by the way. So we're going to be using this on all those souls again. Just to give them a more depth to them as well. And whenever I finish the them off later with another highlight, this is going to make them really pop. And this is also Apothecary White and Holy White from the speed paint give like this gray tone to it, which is kind of funny. And what you're going to want to do is re-put some white over it after as a dry brush or as a highlight, just to bring the edges back out again to make them pop. Otherwise, it's just going to have like a gray hint to it, and you'll see I'll be doing that after. Alright, some rough iron now for the staff. This is just for the hilt of it, or the handle. Just to not use wood color or anything like that. I want it to be a little shiny. Now some bright gold. So this is going to be going on a lot of the miniature. This is going to be on his mask, those medallions. He's also got like these, what do you call it, like trimmings on his cloak, or yeah, that are golden as well. So we're going to do there as well, those as well with that. We're just going to finish off those medallions that are on his cloak there on the front, or his, the ribbons there on, sorry, his robe. And we're going to do also the tip of that horn, as well as these little areas on that as well. Then we're going to move on to the trims of his gauntlets on his arms. You're going to want to put some of that bright gold on there too. And I will shade this down, but not all of it later on. You'll see what I'm going to do with that. I also do his chest plate here. It's all gold as well. And this is where you're going to want to put maybe a second coat, or maybe not. You might be lucky, but sometimes that blue still comes through. And this is where we're doing all the edge lighting of, or the edge painting of all those little areas on the cloak as well. Alright, some greedy gold now. We're going to be using this on the tip of his staff and the top of the staff. So we wanted this to be a little bit darker gold instead of bright gold. It's pretty similar, but a very nice paint to work with. This is an Army Painter Metallics paint. Could use Retributor Armor, could use anything from Vallejo, I'm sure. I mean, you don't have to follow every paint I use. You can use the ones you have in your inventory. I just have a lot of Army Painter stuff. That's pretty much my favorite paints at the moment, and I haven't worked with many others. So anyways, if you have a kind that you like, comment that down below. Agrax Earthshade now. This is where we're going to be doing some highlight. We're going to be using that on the hands. We're going to be putting it down those ribbons, his face, the chest, the beard. We're not going to touch the staff with this. We're going to get the horn. So it's almost going to blend it all in together and give it this nice earthy tone to it as well. It won't be too bright on those belts that are coming down on his robe. The next thing we're going to be doing is a little bit of dry brush of Praxeti White. So this is what I was saying, bring the white back out after you use that contrast paint, and you can hit the bottom as well of this miniature, like the base. That's what I'm going to do after, but what I'm doing is I'm doing a few layers of this, and every single time I keep a little bit more paint on my brush, and I try and hit just like the under parts and the top, like as if there was a glow from the water hitting that. And I also want their faces to pop a bit more. So there's a word for this. It's not dry brushing, it's something else anyway. So you just go on with a little bit more of that dry paint and just hit the faces a bit more. And there you go, folks. Hades is ready for the table to take on the heroes in Massive Darkness 2. I hope you're enjoying these videos, folks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all in the next one.